Out of the 3,102 inmates, most of them are either messing with the newcomers or hanging out in the entertainment area, with only a few working out in the fitness equipment area. It seems that reading is not a popular activity among them. This makes Li Shutong, Lin Xiaoxiao, and Yuan stand out. Lin Xiaoxiao, with his playful smile, crouches on a chair, barefoot, his shoes scattered nearby. Yuan stands straight behind Li Shutong, occasionally scanning the surroundings. Lin Xiaoxiao, with his clear eyebrows and smart appearance, seemed particularly clever, while Yuan was relatively more robust, with a bit more determination on his face. One looked more like a scholar, and the other more like a bodyguard. Upon seeing Li Shutong finish reading the news, Lin Xiaoxiao said, "Boss, the young man didn't help the other newcomers." Li Shutong nodded. It's normal not to help. He was decisive when playing chess, and he could even amputate his arm to survive, let alone helping others. So, boss, do you still want to continue playing chess with him tomorrow? Lin Xiaoxiao asked after a moment of thought. Yes, Li Shutong smiled and said, if I don't play chess with him, who else should I play with? You two lousy players. In the reading area, Li Shutong is sitting next to a long wooden table, holding a brand new reader in his hand and reading the news seriously. The huge cat is once again sleeping on the table, as if the meaning of a cat's life is to sleep in different places. This reading area is like a small library, but the bookshelves here are not filled with paper books, but readers charging in slots. There are dozens of long tables in the middle of the bookshelves, enough to accommodate nearly 1,000 people, but at this moment they are empty. Yuan's heavy voice said from the side, I'm a bit better than Lin Xiaoxiao. But not much better. Li Shutong looked at Yuan and pointed to the news on the reader. Do you remember Guo Huchan caught by the Qin group? The trial process is over, and he should be transferred to this number 18 prison in a few days. You should interact with him then. Yuan nodded. I've dealt with him once before. Although he's not easy to get along with, at least he's communicative. Li Shutong nodded and turned to Lin Xiaoxiao. What do you think about the breakdown of the young man this morning? I've been observing for a long time, and I always feel that something is wrong. Lin Xiaoxiao analyzed. It seems that the young man was talking nonsense after the breakdown, but when he mentioned Luo City and Yongli Group, he was very certain, as if it was true. What's his identity? Li Shutong asked. I checked it out. He's just an ordinary dropout from a middle school in the outside world. He followed the Black Tiger organization in city number 18 to do business in mechanical prosthetics. He was suspected of illegally robbing mechanical prosthetics, but there was no evidence. He was finally sent here for tax evasion. All his past life experiences can be found, but the Luo City and Yongli Group he mentioned can't be found, Lin Xiaoxiao said. No one saw Lin Xiaoxiao checking anything, but he seemed to have checked the broken-down young man in just an hour. This is the most amazing part. Li Shutong said, continue to pay attention, there must be other problems with this young man. Also, what's the situation with the one playing chess with me? Lin Xiaoxiao said, you just finished this game of chess, I haven't had time to check yet. I can give you an answer before the lunch break. Good, Li Shutong nodded while continuing to flip through the reader. Lin Xiaoxiao secretly glanced at Li Shutong, and he suddenly realized that the boss was interested in that young man. Just as he was about to say something more, Lin Xiaoxiao turned his head to look outside the reading area. At this time, Qing Chen was slowly walking over, carefully examining the surroundings. Qing Chen first looked at Li Shutong and then tried to gently pull out a pad-like reader from the bookshelf and pressed the power button. Qing Chen stared at the screen. If there is any way to quickly understand this world, it must be to read the books of this world. He didn't expect that this world had even eliminated paper books, leaving only electronic products. However, the reader did not show an operating interface after it was turned on, but a login interface. Lin Xiaoxiao came over with a light smile. Is this your first time in prison? If you want to use this reader, you have to register an account with your inmate number. After you log in, it will show your recent reading trajectory, your bookmarks, and your reading habits and font size settings. Qing Chen thought that this thing was quite user-friendly. By the way, it also has a built-in artificial intelligence voice. You can call its name to help you find the content you want to find. Like this, Lin Xiaoxiao also pulled out a reader and said, I'm here. A pleasant female voice sounded from the reader. Qing Chen remembered this voice, which was exactly the same as the voice that announced the meal in the prison fortress. A formalized tone, but it doesn't make people feel rigid. Lin Xiaoxiao said to the reader, help me find the book Brown. Okay, I have found Brown for you, the artificial intelligence responded. Look, Lin Xiaoxiao handed the reader in his hand to Qing Chen. The book called Brown had already opened the page. Qing Chen looked at his prison uniform. The number was 010101. After he registered, Qing Chen looked at Lin Xiaoxiao. Where can I read the news, the kind that he has in his hand? Lin Xiaoxiao looked back at his boss's reader in his hand and then laughed. Don't even think about it. Your reader account doesn't have internet access, not even me. Qing Chen understood, It seems that Li Shutong's status in this prison is truly extraordinary, just like he could keep a cat in prison. That he didn't say anything more, but thanked him and then lowered his head to read the content in his reader. Lin Xiaoxiao returned to Li Shutong's side and glanced at Qing Chen casually, but he suddenly found that Qing Chen's reader was flipping pages very fast. Generally, a reader has 800 words per page. It takes at least a minute for a normal person to read. But Qing Chen's page-turning frequency is 2 seconds. Lin Xiaoxiao whispered to Li Shutong, "Boss, he's not really reading the reader at all. He might just want to get close and get a chance to get along with you." "Don't be nosy," Li Shutong said without lifting his head. "Don't underestimate others' desire to survive. If you and him switch roles, you might be even more eager. Xiao, you need to learn to think from another perspective." Lin Xiaoxiao said with a playful smile, I know. Qing Chen found a place to sit down. He kept recording the content of the reader and then quickly flipped the page. He watched for more than 3 hours like this, and he didn't even change his sitting position. For others, reading may be a pastime after meals, but for him, it is one of the ways to understand this world and survive. The content on the reader is obviously carefully selected, with almost no important information, and 95% of the content is philosophy and chicken soup for the soul. But it doesn't matter. Any information is important to him now. Qing Chen has always been a person who cherishes opportunities. When it was almost lunchtime, Li Shutong finally put down the reader in his hand and logged out of his account. Ye Wan, who was on the side, took the reader and put it back in the slot on the bookshelf. Ye Wan and Lin Xiaoxiao are like the closest followers beside Li Shutong. When Li Shutong got up, he glanced at Qing Chen. He felt something was wrong. The young man was so focused on reading that he didn't seem to notice him getting up, which didn't seem like he was pretending. He suddenly asked, "What is the content of the third line on the previous page?" This voice is gentle and jade-like. When he speaks, it feels like he's suddenly in an antique tea room, listening to the teachings of the elders. When order becomes chaos, one has to use chaos to maintain order and save the law. Qing Chen looked up and said. Ye Wan took the reader from Qing Chen and turned to the previous page. "Boss, that's correct." At this moment, Qing Chen suddenly saw the big cat on the table open its eyes. He clearly felt that the other party was looking at him with surprise. It's as if the other party has always been able to understand everyone's conversations and was also surprised at Qing Chen's memory. Li Shutong was stunned for a moment after hearing Yuan's confirmation, and then he called the big cat and left with a smile. "It's getting more interesting, let's go, it's time for lunch." For some reason, Qing Chen always thought that there was something uniquely graceful about the way Uncle Li moved. The fluttering of his white practice uniform seemed as if he was walking on clouds.